The philosophy of Elbert Hubbard. An American religion. Work, play, breathe, bathe, study, laugh, live, love. I believe that no one can harm us but ourselves, that sin is misdirected energy, that there is no devil but fear, and that the universe is planned for good. We know that work is a blessing, that winter is as necessary as summer, that night is as useful as day, that death is a manifestation of life and just as good. I believe in the now and here. I believe in you, and I believe in a power that is in ourselves that makes for righteousness. Elbert Hubbard. Copyright 1916 by the Roy Coffers. Narrated by Rex King. Why not make this a world of friends? Credo, Elbert Hubbard. I believe in the motherhood of God. I believe in the blessed trinity of Father, Mother, and Child. I believe that God is here and that we are as near Him now as ever we shall be. I do not believe He started this world a-going and went away and left it to run itself. I believe that we are all sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. I believe the only way we can reach the kingdom of heaven is to have the kingdom of heaven in our hearts. I believe in freedom, social, economic, domestic, political, mental, spiritual. I believe in every man minding his own business. I believe in sunshine, fresh air, friendship, calm sleep, beautiful thoughts. I believe in the purifying process of sorrow, and I believe that death is a manifestation of life. I believe the universe is planned for good. The philosophy of Elbert Hubbard. The radiant life, Elbert Hubbard. I wish to be simple, honest, natural, frank, clean in mind and clean in body, unaffected, ready to say, I do not know. If so it be. To meet all men on an absolute equality. To face any obstacle and meet every difficulty unafraid and unabashed. I wish to live without hate, whim, jealousy, envy, or fear. I wish others to live their lives, too, up to their highest, fullest, and best. To that end, I pray that I may never meddle, dictate, interfere, give advice that is not wanted, or assist when my services are not needed. If I can help people, I will do it by giving them a chance to help themselves. And if I can uplift or inspire, let it be by example, inference, and suggestion, rather than by injunction and dictation. I desire to radiate life. The American philosophy. So this then is an essay on the American philosophy. The American philosophy is founded on the science of economics. Just here, in order that we may speak a common language, a few definitions are in order. Economics is the science of the production, distribution, and use of wealth. Science is accurate, organized knowledge founded on fact, or as Herbert Spencer expressed it, science is the classified knowledge of the common people. All that which is simply assumed, believed, conjectured, taken on dogmatic statement, or mayhap read out of printed books, is unscientific, no matter how plausible. All practical businessmen are scientists. Business is a vocation. Philosophy is, or should be, an advocation. To make a business of philosophy is to institutionalize and dilute it, just as to institutionalize love and religion is to degrade and lose them. Religion is philosophy touched with emotion. Philosophy is your highest conception of life, its duties, and its destiny. A religious organization is a different thing from religion. A religious organization is built on a feeling made static or fear frozen stiff. It then becomes a superstition and is employed as a police system and is taxed all the traffic will bear. Science is definite, accurate, organized knowledge concerning the things that make up our environment. Modern philosophy is the distilled essence of wisdom that eventually flows from science. Or, if you please, philosophy is the explanation of science, a projection from science. Transportation, manufacturing, distribution, advertising, and salesmanship are all variants of business. Each and all are scientific, that is, capable of analyzation and demonstration. Weight, size, color, number, qualities, and time are all elements of science. Theology is antique and obsolete philosophy. It never is nor ever was scientific, not being derived from knowledge. Faith is the first item in its formula. Theology comes to us from dogmatic statements gotten from books or the hearsay words of men long dead. Theology is voodooism in matters of importance. It is in the same class as alchemy, astrology, palmistry, mantaology, and augury. Science is understood while theology is believed. Psychology is the science of human minds and their relationship one to another. Superstition is scrambled science or a religious omelet flavored with fear. Organized religion being founded on superstition is perforce not scientific, and all that is not scientific, that is truthful, must be bolstered by force, fear, and falsehood. Thus, we always find slavery and organized religion going hand in hand. Business, to be successful, must be based on science, for demand and supply are matters of mathematics, not guesswork. Civilization turns on organization, and organization, in order to be of any value, must be scientific. Economics is a new science. History does not show a single instance of its existence in the days of Greece and Rome. They had simple mathematics, but not complex fractions, percentages, statistics, averages were beyond them. The blueprint, even for humorists, was unguessed. Philosophy was speculation. Business was barter. Since then, up to within a few years ago, the problem of how man could save his soul has been uppermost. This world has been neglected in the endeavor to gain another. When the science of economics is finally formulated, it will be expressed first in America. In America, all nations meet and blend. Here, the factors, elements, and categories of economics are to be found. Here we have one language and no more, and this is necessary for the expression of a new science. The first endeavor to found economics as a science as the work of Adam Smith. And when Thomas Henry Buckle said that Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations had influenced the world for good more than any other book ever written, save none, he stated truth. Economics changes man's activities. As you change a man's activities, you change his way of living. And as you change his environment, you change his state of mind. Precept and injunction do not perceptively affect men, but food, water, air, clothing, shelter, pictures, books, music will and do. Adam Smith, John Stuart Mill, and Karl Marx all wrote on economics, but none was an economist. Each based his logic largely on presumption, assumption, and hypothesis. If this happens, then that will occur. They were political economists. They pursued economics as a policy, not as truth. They loved love, not the lady. They were students of economics, and their work was not grounded in science. Since the days of Smith, Mill, and Marx, we have had many students of economics, but the world has not yet produced an economist. To be an economist, a man must be a scientist. He must be both a man of action and one who knows why he acts. He must work and he must contemplate his work. He must act and he must think. A scientist is a man who has done the thing and who has seen and knows. Then from his positive knowledge springs his philosophy, and the philosophy of a businessman, analyzed, explained, and formulated, would constitute a science of economics. The American philosophy will be formulated by scientists, by businessmen who have succeeded. Thackeray's lawyer in the debtor's prison, who was working out a new financial policy for the nation, was not a scientist. His knowledge was academic and his scheme conjectural. Science was outside of his orbit. He lacked experience. He had feelings but not facts. He did not have enough cosmic mortar to construct an arch. Emotionalism, charity, altruism, optimism are not science, and they may be hysteria. When I speak of success, I do not mean it in the sordid sense. A successful man is one who has tried, not cried, who has worked, not dodged, who has shouldered responsibility, not evaded it, who has gotten under the burden, not merely stood off, looking on, giving advice and philosophizing on the situation. In fact, the result of a man's work is not the measure of success. To go down with the ship in storm and tempest is better than to paddle away to paradise in an orthodox canoe. To have worked is to have succeeded. We leave the results to time. Life is too short to gather the harvest. We can only sow. Up to the year 1876, the business world was tainted by trickery in trade. The method of booth and bazaar were everywhere practiced. Business was barter, and he could cheat and not get caught was accounted clever. On the customs of the time, there was no copyright. They were a takeover from monarchical days. But a new ethic has arrived. Within 10 years' time, the thought has gone through the entire business fabric that to cheat and not get caught is really a worse calamity than to get caught. To be caught means that someone has applied the brake and you are given pause. Not to get caught means that you are headed for the precipice on the high clutch and downgrade. To cheat another is to cheat yourself. Theology did not teach us this. For precept and preaching never touch our lives. We shed them. We are moved in only one way, and that is by self-interest. Cut off our food supply and we are no longer apathetic. And self-interest is a form of selfishness. It is the desire for life. It is the instinct of self-preservation in action. It was all a matter of mental growth, evolution. The discovery of truth as our most valuable business asset is the one great achievement of the age in which we live. For truth there is no substitute, and this discovery was made by businessmen. Honesty as a working policy was first put forth by Benjamin Franklin, and his remark was regarded as a mere pleasantry until yesterday. The clergy have not yet adopted it. The doctors are considering it, and the lawyers haven't heard of it. However, all these will finally adopt it as a last resort, as a means of self-preservation. Economics based on falsehood leads to disillusion. Falsehood is a polite form of conquest. The lie is exploitation. The preacher has diverted us while the lawyer picked our pocket. The doctor gives you ether and accomplishes the same result. Egypt, Rome, and Greece lived on their slaves and outlying colonies. Slave labor is the most expensive kind. In time, the land is exhausted and the slaves die. But before this happened to the capitals that were, the aristocrats who wasted, destroyed, and consumed had gotten nervous debility and were impotent and impudent. Then they died, and the barbarian overran the land. A wise economist, an American as many, could have figured out exactly how long Babylon and Nineveh would have lasted. None of these ancient civilizations produced economists. They had soothsayers, priests, lawyers, poets, artists, clowns, dramatists, orators, rhetoricians, singers, philosophers, and most of all, they had guzzlers and gourmands. But they had no scientists, their philosophy being based on augury, dreams, theology, and fear, was futile and facilless. A philosophy that is not founded on science is false in theory and base in practice. Modern business betters human environment. It means gardens, flowers, fruits, vegetables. It means quick, safe, and cheap transportation of people, commodities, and messages. It means books, maps, furniture, pictures, playgrounds, pure water, perfect sewage, fresh air, sunshine, health, happiness, hope, light, and love, because business gives opportunities for all to work, earn, grow, and become. Business consists in the production, transportation, and distribution of the things that are necessary to human life. Through this exercise of our faculties, we induce the best that is in us. In other words, we get educated. Inasmuch as business supplies the necessities of life, it is impossible to have a highly evolved and noble race except where there is a science of business. Business is human service. Therefore, business is essentially a divine calling. Once men believed religion to be the chief concern of mortals here below, other men have thought that killing is the chief concern of mortals here below. Gladstone once said, "Only two avenues of honor are open to young men in England, the army and the church." This has been the prevailing opinion of the world for nearly 2,000 years, and is the one reason why the Dark Ages were dark. During those years of night, the fighting man was supreme. It was a long panic, and human evolution was blocked through fear. The race crawled, crept, hid, dodged, secreted, lied, and nearly died. We now say that the science of economics or business is the chief concern of humanity. Business is intelligent, useful activity. The word busyness was coined during the time of Chaucer by certain soldier aristocrats, men of the leisure class, who prided themselves upon the fact that they did no useful thing. Men of power proved their prowess by holding slaves, and these slaves did all the work. To be idle showed that one was not a slave. But this word business, first flung in contempt, like Puritan, Methodist, and Quaker, has now become a thing of which to be proud. Idleness is the disgrace, not busyness. The word can be redeemed only through business, for business means betterment, and no business can now succeed that does not add to human happiness. We believe that only the busy person is happy, and that systematic, daily, useful work is man's greatest blessing. We are a nation of workers, builders, inventors, creators, producers. We are the richest country per capita in the world, and our wealth has come from the farm, the forest, the factory, the mind, the sea. We have dug, plowed, pumped, smelted, refined, transported, and manufactured. We did not inherit our wealth, neither have we laid tribute to other countries as did those earlier civilizations. Any individual who uses the word commercial as an epitaph, who regards business enterprise as synonymous with graft and greed, who speaks of certain men as self-made and others as educated, who gives more attention to war than to peace, who seeks to destroy rather than to create and build up, is essentially un-American. The word educated sometimes stands for idleness, but the American philosophy symbols work, effort, industry. It means intelligent, thoughtful, reasonable, and wise busyness, helping yourself by helping others. The world's greatest prizes in the future will go to the businessman. The businessman is our only scientist, and to him we must look for a science of economics that will eradicate poverty, disease, superstition, all that dissipates and destroys. The day is dawning. End of The American Philosophy, page 24 of The Philosophy of Elbert Hubbard, narrated by Rex King.